Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an update for MAV. If you remember my last video, we're expecting one of two things to happen here. We broke into price discovery and had a correction after. And ideally what we want is to hold the previous highs. This is the area we want to consolidate in. Ignore this wick, this is just on MEXC. But also keep in mind that one of two things tend to happen with these newer coins without a lot of price history. Either we make these sort of cup and handle 1-2 looking structures where it's a very complex structure as most likely a diagonal, and we end up popping up for our third wave in which the current guideline target's up around $4.30. Now from here, you're looking at 500% move, which is very nice. But the alternative when you see these structures is we don't get follow through. We collapse, and as soon as we pass the 618 at about 33 cents is when I would switch probabilities to that, and we tend just to get stuck in these ranges till we eventually break out, which is very frustrating to trade in. I just move on to the next thing. I'll just set my alarms to remind me in the future once we break certain levels, but I'd move on to something else at that point. So the nice thing is that correction pulled us back right around the 40 on the daily on the RSI, which is ideally where we want our pivot on the further time frames. And what we want to see is a 5-wave move down on the micro and volume coming in, right? To give us bullish indications that we're on the right path and we are actually getting that impulse. Now, it's hard to know where the top is. I think it's right here personally, and we end up getting a WXY that lines up more ideally with our time fibs. We haven't quite reached the 618, which I don't love, and hard to know where to pull these pivots from. So just being fully aware that we could pop up here and come for one more down before we take off. So just be aware of that. If this ends up failing, it doesn't mean I'm done with the coin. It means we might be extending in time, and maybe I have to move my one over here, and then we get some sort of 335, right? So very tough when you don't have a lot of price history. But the important thing is we are potentially entering price discovery, which you want to be a part of. Trust me, in price discovery. When the upside does come, that's where you see those crazy candles move to the upside. Not saying that's going to happen, just saying it's an option. I have this currently as a WXY. Very complex structures, 3-wave patterns, very difficult to trade in, right? But we did break that W wave low, so most likely expanded flat as a complex structure, and then we recovered quickly. So at this point, if we are bullish, going down to the 15-minute, I am currently in this. Originally, what I did, if you watch my videos, you'll probably guess, I entered the breakout above here, stop at this low originally, and then I added to the position once we made this 5-wave move to the upside. I added to the position here, stop move to this level, just the little extra I had there for my stop. So now waiting to see what sort of price action we get here, but this is either bullish or corrective. That's the issue you're always going to get with Elliott Wave. So at this point, what I'm going to do is move my stop to this pivot, so it's in profit. And based on what pattern we fill out here, whether it's an impulse or a corrective move, I may add again. This is how I get the most position size. I just keep moving up moving up with the structure and adding to it. Because the reason I do that is if this is impulsive, and this is our 1 and a 2, or 1 and a 2 over here with a flat, I'm not sure yet. If this is impulsive, as soon as we break this structure, we invalidate the impulse. Hope that makes sense on the micro. If we invalidate the structure, this is not a 1-2 would be my likely suggestion here. This is not a 1-2 if we break this level, right? Because the second wave 2 can't invalidate and come below its next wave 1, right? Now the structure can change, and this could turn into a larger diagonal, where we just come up something like this, but I will adjust that once I see that price action, right? So I'll make a decision. Maybe I take a little off the table and lower my stop. I'll decide that once I see the structure fill out. But as of right now, the ideal time was right here. This could be another diagonal. It doesn't look the nicest though. I like this better as a running flat like this. Just got extended out a little bit in time. Let's make sure all that works. Look for our B zone. Just keep in mind, these are all just placeholders. The count can change. I'm just tracking it as if it's bullish, and the important thing to do with that is I know where my invalidation levels are, right? Yep, so that can be a B wave. I'd most likely put it like that with a short, probably a WXY. It looks like 3. So what I would do is label it this way for now. But this can also be a 1-2, 1-2, not the prettiest diagonal, and this could be an expanded flat, right? So this could be a 1-2, 1-2. Kind of depends what this wave does. I won't know till it does. What I would do on the micro for that, just giving you some advice, is pull those fibs and see if we come to the 618, right? If this ends up going like this, comes to the 618, comes back to the 1, makes 5 there, I'd relabel this as the 1-2 rather than 1-2 over here. All right, it depends what we get. I don't know what we're going to get, but I know this should be bullish in our bullish case. And if we come back to this level off this wave, then this is most likely a corrective move. Could be like this, A, B, C, even come to the 0.618 and we just collapse. Right, and get a new low. And this would just be an ABC. But that's my area of last resort currently. And it's in profit currently, which is nice. And I may add once we get that wave pan out, right? If we get that 3, 4, 5, I can consider this a 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can adjust that, switch my stop to the wave 1 overlap, and keep going. Just using invalidation to confirm my count and stops to invalidation levels. If this is bullish, MAV looks pretty good. Question is this a 1-2, 1-2, or is this a 1-2 with a flat? Not sure yet. Will not know until the price action fills out. Do have some volume coming in there, which is indicative of a third wave, which is nice, but we'll see what we get, and I will make sure to update this one as we go. But if we do come down, I would expect this to turn, what would we get? We got 3 waves down off the X. Can we turn into an ABC? Yep, we could turn into another 3, but we'll see what we get. Hopefully we just get follow through. If you haven't watched my Bitcoin video, I would suggest watching it, because if we get a C wave move down in a running flat, we could get one more low on the alts. It could drag it down. But all I would do is get stopped out, slight profit, look for a re-entry lower, look for a bottoming structure, look for a completed count, and do it all over again. I know it's frustrating when you get stopped out. You just have to kind of build up your ability to just take a loss on the chin and keep going. The worst thing you can do is when a count's almost complete is to give up on it. That's when you're like, it's supposed to go from here. It's supposed to go from here. And then you give up, you're like, screw it, it's not going to happen. And what always happens, right? It recovers the very next move. You missed it by 1 wave. I can't even tell you how many times that's happened to me in the past. That's why I just stick with it now. Keep going, keep going. Your time is made analyzing. It's not made by taking every trade available. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.